Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back to Manolar as the people rejoice of course because they have a lovely site today in the harbor area, and that is of course my biggest warships that we have at the moment coming into the harbor area for the protection of the trade routes of Manolar. We are going to use them whenever now there is an attack coming in onto into this area here. We can help them by also having a defense, well, build up in this area if we want to, but for now that should be fine. The reason why we can do this is because look at that harbor area. What is this? Admiral Vicente Silva, why do you need that many depots on this island here? Yeah, it seems a bit buggy there as well. The reason why we can do this here is because the AIs don't have their best fleets in the new world, right? So when I look around, it's still a lot of wooden ships and, yeah, well, just some battle cruisers and battleships, but not the amount that we see in the old world. So I should be confident with using my big ships here, right? So we can do this. I'm going to keep them in the area. And we're probably also going to take the whole defensive power of Manolar over here into this harbor area. Why we need to do this? Well, obviously because I need to have a safe space for my massive ships in case there's a big attack coming in by the AI. And then we should have them all lined up closely so we can use, or we can combine both of these facilities. Well, both of these defensive structures. Go ahead. Right, so we can stay here, and whenever there is now an attack on my trade routes, I can quickly dispatch my ships, getting out there, destroying those buggers, and get back to the safety of it. We are back in Manolar still, because we do want to continue now raising the docklands. First of all, there is one more trade coming in with Tobias. He's coming in and gives me a bit more chocolate. The coffee still hasn't leveled up, right? So we can still use more coffee, of course. But it's also important to now get into the sewing machine business. And we have a lot of Artistas for that. So let's have a look what we actually will need for building up a proper production here. Coal is probably the biggest problem. But I'm not going to build charcoal kilns, right? That's just really nasty and it takes up a lot of space. So of course, we're going to use the docklands to jumpstart that. Tobias is coming in. So let's actually quickly get the coal trade started while he's still approaching. There it is. And I want to get a look at that. 1,000 coal will still be fine for only 100 tons of coffee. Of course we can do this. And with that, having a nice trade for the coffee and also jump-starting then our sewing machine business here. I think also, now that we are at it, the Artistas need sewing machines. We have the trade route for the sewing machines going over. I'm going to stop this now because this is no longer required. We're going to build the sewing machines ourselves here, providing that. There's another production here, the soccer balls. We should actually just combine that as well, building it now. Let's go ahead with the sewing machine factory. The consumption of Artistas for sewing machines is sitting where? At 2 tons, right? And we build, of course, one of them, and that would already be the demand met. We can build up to 13 of these bad boys here right now, leading to a production of 26 sewing machines per minute, unboosted. Let's have a look at that, what we would need for this. We would need some bauxite. This is actually really cool. This is producing 6 per minute, which is a lot. Just gotta love the speed at which we actually kill them off, right? It is a thing of beauty. Like, they have no chance at all. These battleships are going down so quickly. It's great to see, really. I just want to see that from time to time. Let's go ahead and, yeah, tone it down from all the way where we need it. So we could actually calculate 10 tons of sewing machines right now per minute as starters, right? This would lead to, yeah, around 2.5 lumberjack huts that we need. And I think also in total, yeah, maximum 2 bauxite mines. And that's already it. I think 2 of them is even too much. But since the requirements for them are so cheap, I can just build 2 of them and be done with it for a long time. Let's actually have another one over here. And have a, yeah, have it like this. So this is the road and this is the connection that we need to make. Otherwise, this one does not have a harbor connection. The biggest problem here would be the aluminum smelters. They're actually quite expensive in comparison, but we do need aluminum anyway, right, for any kind of future thing, so it's just safe to use it now. This is a perfect industry zone for that, because yeah, it's dirty already, right? We have the oil here. We might actually be able to use then one power station in this area at some point using the oil that comes from the harbor area. Should be fine. So I'm going to reserve that space right away somewhere really central, right? So somewhere where we absolutely will not hurt anything. So here, and this now can take the whole area in. I'll actually move it down a bit further. Over here. I think this is even better. And we don't need that road here for the moment. There we have at least the tracks now. And then we can have our whole industry zone now piling up here. So it would be a first start now with the aluminum smelters. Also, by the way, sorry, a trade union. Let's actually plan 2 trade unions for this area. We can have one here. And I would like to have... Oh. Yeah, another one here. That actually fits nicely. I mean, it would be probably safer if we have one moving over like this one, right? So we use that area. And then we have one over here. Because then we don't waste that much out of it, right? And can take most in. Perfect. And let's go ahead and build us some of these smelters. That's going to be dirty. I don't deny that at all. But it's fine in this area, right? Because this is already a dirty area. And should we keep this one as a double road? I don't know. Nah, I don't think this makes sense. We don't need a double road here, right? It's a simple road that goes all the way down then. Right, we just need to be careful that the AIs are not moving their main fleets all of a sudden to Manola. Try to protect this one here. Try to attack this one here, honestly. Alright, aluminum smelters, and then we just need the sewing machines. I would also like to have them in a trade union cycle. So here, we do have our bombino weavers. Yeah, that's fine, really. They can still stay here, I think, for the moment. And then we have the sewing machine factories. They also look a bit different, right, than the version from the old world. We're going ahead with this, so this looks a bit cleaner, and then we can have a bunch of them still piling up over here. And we're probably going to move them down here, so we can still get some of them into that radius here. And here we can have, of course, more if I don't want to boost those bomb and weavers then, but that's something for later. That's actually a perfect location for a warehouse, because we also have the bauxite deposit there right away that we will be using then as well on top of it. Warehouse number 1. Where's number 2? Might actually... This one here we upgrade, this one we upgrade, and then we can have another one just here, really, this area. Yeah. It's not exactly looking clean. But how can you build clean when you get these messages all the time? I just need to really check up to make sure that it's really just the side area. We are already importing the fish with the soap, so I'm hoping that we don't need that much more. Let's go ahead and build the first 3 aluminum smelters here too. And with that, did we get the coal already? I think we did. Yeah, 1,000 coal is in. Perfect. That's fine. The only other thing we still need to get is the logs. And as we can see, this is now equal, at least for the moment, because of course there's not always a demand for timber. Still, I'm going to build me the 2 lumberjack huts here, because why not? They're dirt cheap as is. Let's upgrade that warehouse here too. We got the aluminum smelters, and then we just can go ahead. Let's start with 2 of the sewing machine factories. That's the Artistas now we consume. And with that, get the aluminum in. And then also the lumber. And yeah, of course, they can take the aluminum then right from the smelters if they like, or also from the warehouses, just like that. This is starting now the sewing machine production. We have the first two that are producing now for the artisters, and then of course I'm determined to use that as well for the docklands. Then we don't need this one anymore, right? Because let's face it, the tobacco is now almost full, right? So one more income chocolate in Panagos will be fine, and then we have actually the chocolate now for have that tobacco unlocked, and then we can start the tobacco production as well. Back in Panagos, another thing I would like to do, since we're working on the chocolate right now, we're having the bakeries over here. How much bread do we produce? 15 per minute, the demand is at 10. Do we have a nice surplus there right now? Do we also... yeah, we're still also far away from the maximum capacity. So what we can do in this area, of course, adding a trade union to start passively producing some chocolate for us. That's a great business model, really. Since these buildings are so big, though, we are going to need to break it a bit. And here we can then have the trade union. Will you please shut up? I know it's under attack. Why does he need to spam this all the time? Let's go ahead and have a look at, there it is, the fine cake decorator, producing now chocolate with every 5th ton of bread that we have. That's actually quite a lot, right? Because with that we should be, we're producing a baseline of 4 chocolate now per minute out of the total amount of 7 that we need. So look at that. That's really cool. There is, I think, no such thing with the cigars, right? So it makes sense to start producing chocolate just passively while doing this. Of course, the more bread we produce, the more chocolate we produce. So we should probably ramp it up here a bit by adding another bakery somewhere. I think we're just going to have it right next to it. Producing this one too. There's the warehouse. There's the warehouse. Let's also upgrade both of them, so that we have a proper amount of loading ramps for everyone. Let's also upgrade the whole bunch there. There's something similar for the sausage as far as I know. Sausage is still fine on the production. Please. Spamming it out doesn't make it better. Full-fledged rice over here. Potato farm. This could disrupt my schnapps. It's already going down. Let's just check this out. Give them a proper service building. Speed up the whole process there. It's cheap anyway. And this one here seems overloaded a bit. So let's upgrade it for the hops that we have. Now that's the bread and the chocolate. And with that, we are, with the latest bakery, we're close. So it's only 2 tons of a difference here. This is actually easy to import as well with the docklands if we want to. But for now, that's fine. By the way, we should now be able to really get that gramophone cracking. And that is something we have over here. 40 tons is in. And let's go ahead and unlock the gramophones from investors, leading to an overall happy population and also more income even than what we already have, right? This should solve a few things. It at least will bring them below -20 happiness. Unhappiness. Alright, that's one thing. Another thing is that trade union here that I would like to start upgrading now. That's another 20 influence, but you know what? We can afford it for my sewing machines, because you know what? Let's have a look at my white flag. What I've just received. DARIO, the mechanical engineer. And this is just such an awesome item. It affects the bicycle factories, the sewing machine factories, and the tools workshop. Sewing machine is the go-to here. And instead of steel, we process iron. So it's reducing my steel consumption. Furthermore, we produce pocket watches and gramophones, both of them passively with every 8 sewing machine that we produce. And since the sewing machine factories are getting boosted by electricity, doubling their output already, this leads to 1 gramophone and 1 pocket watch every 2 minutes out of every single sewing machine factory. I think with that, we don't even need to have a pocket watch production anymore at all. It's that powerful. There is another one. Oh, actually, it's just the same, right? It's just the same symbol here, Johann the Inventor. And this one, this is also really good. Gramophone factory productivity, and instead of wood veneers, we process timber. However, it's 1 building we would save with that, so I'm not going to have it at the moment. He's busy, really spamming me. He's busy. This is also really cool. Ernest the Educator, bonus happiness from schools, also workforce increase. very good for workers basically. So let's go ahead and get this one in, though they are very expensive. Scholars we don't have yet, so no need for it. Champagne distilleries, old world happiness boosts, and also variety theater boost, right? Let's also get this guy in because we can combine the artisans and the workers there with that. Let's get this one to Panagos because that's going to be quite the boost that we have here. Sewing machine wise, do we have something to further boost them? I think at the moment not. Not really. Of course, having then another 40% boost out of the items would be lovely to further also boost my income for gramophones and stuff like that in general. Back to Manola real quick, because I said I would also like to combine here now my latest production, the ball sports, so the ball manufacturer we need with that. Let's check it out how many soccer balls we need really for the Artisters. 1, right? So that's really easy. And that would already be 1 ball manufacturer producing 2 per minute. So I think with 2 of them in total, we would be fine. Will you shut up? What's the matter with you? Yes, another smaller attack. I probably will have to shut them down audio-wise, because this is getting on my nerves. But then again, if the massive attack comes in and he's spamming me again, I might ignore him, and that would be bad. Unfortunately, I think I need to keep the jolly good fella there. Let's have 2 of them here. Whoops, this actually should have been a blueprinted version. It's fine. Let's have them. And they only need caoutchouc, that's easy, we mass produce them. And Nandu leather. Nandu leather is also really easy, right? 1 of them is actually already plenty, so 2 of them will already meet the demand for a long time. Unfortunately, it needs a bit of space, right? So over there, for example, we have this wasteland, you might say. Just go ahead and have this here and have those 2 Nandu farms right in here, where we should easily be able to squeeze them in. They require 4 fields. That's also really easy actually to just produce, or just to build, right? And then we have them here right next to the tracks. Poor Nandus, hopefully they're smart enough to ignore those tracks. And with that, we already have that production up. Nandu ladder is coming in, the balls are coming in, and another need for artisters being met easily. Boosting my workforce, of course, that we are going to need for all the sewing machines. There they are. They even have a little tent over there. And the train goes just beside them. There it is. Poor donkey, he actually registered it too late. But there's a train. We do have, both of them are working. I'm not boosting them yet. Oil storage wise, it's declining. That's great. So we are actually getting this over. I have my second oil tanker on that trade route again, right? So replenished it. Ball manufacturer will now work. Let's check it out here real quick. We're producing now 4 sewing machines and 2 we need. And aluminum, demand is 4 and we produce only 3. So that's my miscalculation. But it's not 1, it's 0.5 I think that we miscalculated there. Let's actually build another warehouse. With that we have it 4. It's actually now a +1. So it was definitely at 0.5 or something like that. That didn't work out, right? Bauxite, of course, this is a huge increase here. I wonder how valuable bauxite would be in the docklands, but I think we cannot trade this, right? That would be too easy. Nah, unfortunately, I don't see it. So, yeah, that would have been too easy, right? How much more chocolate? 140 more tons of chocolate. That should be happening then in Panagos. Let's head back. Where's Tobias? In 2 minutes, he's coming in, and then we'll unlock tobacco as my next resource. And with that, we can go ahead with the cigar production on top of everything. Another thing is reinforced concrete. This is actually a problem to me now, because we do require a lot of it and we only produce 8 and we are completely limited by cement, right? There's still a +1. Am I already boosting them with the workforce? I think I am. Yes, I am. This is not great. So either I boost them with trade unions, which would be horrible because we would need to waste 20 influence for 1 mine. Yeah, I will have to use the docklands. There's no other way. Otherwise, we could, of course, use Eli. He produces cement. It's replenishing a bit. I don't know the rate, to be honest. It's not much. And I really don't like to base my industry on purchasing items from traders. That's just bad stuff. So I'm not doing this. So we might use a trade contract in the Docklands to further boost this. Once the chocolate has been fulfilled, we don't need this anymore, so I might just get then the cement in, right? It's a very cheap product to further boost my reinforced concrete. We, by the way, can go ahead with one more, because obviously we had a surplus there. So this is fine to boost my reinforced concrete. We got the items. Let's go ahead and use DARIO now finally. This is just always so great because, yeah, we're basically now boosting the whole bunch of them. And with that we get pocket watches and gramophones in. And let's just see what the effects of that are. Holy cow, it's +5 for the gramophones that we have in total now. And for the pocket watches, it must also be a +5, right? And with that, we have now a huge surplus of pocket watches without any additional need of buildings. It's crazy. It's beautiful. It's Anno 1800. The downside of this, of course, is that iron is now being consumed in high quantities by the sewing machine factories, so there will be an even higher demand for iron out of the Docklands. So I will probably... We are at 3k. I think this is actually way above my limit anyway, right? It's 2.4, so yeah, increasing my storage capabilities is probably a good bet of getting more of that in. We don't have the space. I will use the Dockland modules for that wherever I can, because that's 100 tons each. But of course, it's already looking pretty dire out over here, right? So what we can do is I can use it like this, right? So that's 300 more tons. It's not pretty. So there will be a moment once again where we are going to remodel that, of course, right? Once I am feeling a bit more confident with my defenses. But right now, that's just the way it goes. That's 2,800 on the storage. I think that's still not enough. How many more modules do we have? 2 more. All right. Get those 2 in, and then we can have another full block here, and we can also continue with that block here if we want to, right? So that we kind of like use that space there as efficiently as possible. That's 3,000 tons now that we have, and this is of course for Tobias. I've also built some more loading wharfs, so we have 11 out of the 12 now, because it's really taking time to unload all of that. And with that, we're boosting now the loading speed to 550%, so it's only taking a whopping minute to unload everything. We have now a loading speed of 13 tons per second. That's quite a lot. Still, of course, we are also using quite a lot. Wait a second, is he just arriving? He is arriving. So we can check it out anyway. It's going to be more than a minute. Yeah, it's 4 minutes. That's still great, right? Because without it, we probably would be sitting around 30 minutes at this point for the loading stuff. And with that, yeah. So far so good. And we continue on what's here in the next episode. Stay tuned.
Your harbor is under attack.